Conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. This is Jim Marshall. Okay, the AnCan Veteran Support Group meeting for January 20th, 2026. Happy New Year to everybody. Uh, First, I would like to thank our sponsors who have pitched in a few dollars to make this happen. It is Novartis, Myriad Genetics, Telix, Johnson & Johnson, Foundation Medicine, and Blue Earth Diagnostics. And and it's cold everywhere. So, but thank you for joining. Okay, this group talks about veterans affairs, veterans healthcare, disability, military retirement, healthcare, if you would thing, and even we can even pitch in U.S. civilian government retirement healthcare because I am also a what was called a double dipper. I retired out of the military, was not dumb. I went to work as a civilian, which was a culture shock within the Treasury Department, and then jumped over to the Office of Personnel Management 22 years. So all three of these systems can then intersect, and you can use them all, or you can use two, you can use. So, anyway, okay. Let's get started. Jim, you said that you had a question here, and I think it concerns the fact that you're under prostate cancer treatment, had your treatment, and you're probably 100% VA disabled at this point, temporary, and the clock is ticking. Is that about right?
Yes.
Okay. What's happening?
Okay. So I'm coming up on 6 months post
Okay.
post treatment,
Right.
and by your recommendation, I got a letter from my oncologist
Okay.
stating, well, you said the stating that I'm still under treatment. However, I don't know if, and you said to take it to a CMP, to my CMP exam when it happens, and also submit it. Um, so anyway, um, I'd like to read it, and I
Okay.
don't think it's going to do me much good as far as saying that, I'm, it pretty much states that I am in remission. But anyway, I'll just read it real quick. It says, Mr. James Otto is currently under our care at University of Colorado Hospital. Mr. Otto has a history of stage 2B prostate cancer and completed radiation therapy on 7/31/2025. Mr. Otto continues close surveillance with us, requiring PSA checks every 3 months, as well as follow up every 3 to 6 months. At this time, Mr. Otto does not have any evidence of disease, but will need to continue close monitoring to ensure this. So basically, he's saying it's in remission, don't you think, or not?
Yeah, that could be taken either way.
Yeah.
Uh, the thing I generally try to get the doctor to do is to put in there the end date of the 1 year. So, in other words, it would say something like, okay, he is getting a PSA test every 3 months and will continue that for a period of 1 year. And then, if things are good, it is declared that he is in a durable remission, which is the key to the VA folks to then downgrade you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You sent me an email
Okay.
with a sample of what the letter should state,
Yeah.
and I actually gave them a sample of that letter of
Okay.
what I needed,
Okay.
and they said that they couldn't say that I was under any treatment, and they would see what they could do as far as getting me a letter, and so this is what they come up with.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because yeah, I can sort of understand that because I don't know if they consider that a treatment. But so therefore, at the time I say that he is required to get a PSA test for, okay, every 3 months for 1 year, which is true. And then provided the end date of that, because generally at that point you switch to a 6 month. But the thing that you can do is just go in and explain that to them. You don't absolutely have to have a doctor's statement of that.
Right.
Okay. And provided that they happen to buy it, great. Richard, you have your hand up.
Yes. So, Jim, let me ask you, what was your most recent PSA?
3.9. My 3-month out PSA was 3.9, down from 14.6.
So 3.9 was the first PSA after radiation treatment, correct?
3.9, yeah, 3.9.
Yeah.
So, as Jim was saying, he used the term durable. So, I'm kind of jumping ahead with what I'm going to talk about, but the case you need to make is that indeed, as Jim said, durable. And durable, when I made my case, I said durable should be at least 3 PSA readings at or below 1.0 to demonstrate clinical assurance of a durable signs of remission. I mean, I've gone from 11.7 to 5.89 to 3.87 down to 2.43, jumped up to 2.87, and so I never used or asked the doctor to say if that I'm in treatment. I just asked them to please confirm that we are still monitoring the PSA, and that's worked for me.
Well, this letter says that, but it also says there's no evidence of disease, which is kind of, almost saying I'm in remission, really.
Well, there's no evidence at this time. Okay, but as I say, the usual course is to then monitor you for a year. And then after the year, generally, they say, well, it looks like for a year, okay, everything is good. So we are going to cut you loose at this point and just go back to getting a PSA test every 6 months. But in there, doesn't it say that you are going to see the doctor periodically or something like that?
Yeah, every 3 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that to me could be argued that if you have to see the doctor every 3 months, then you are indeed not completed yet, because at the end, at the time they cut you loose, you just go back to getting a PSA test without and with the doctor's visits.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I'll just wait for the C&P exam and then
Right.
play it by ear.
Yep.
When I go in there, and maybe not use this letter, but just try to explain.
Yes. Explain that you have to see the doctor every 3 months.
Right.
And with the radiation, actually, it could be that within that year comes, they aren't quite satisfied yet, and they might extend it for another 3 months. Surgery's easy. It's out. The PSA test 4 times for a year, and then it's either you're good or you're not. Radiation is tricky because you still have prostate cancer cells. No, you still have prostate cells that are creating PSA. And so it isn't conclusive. Bob Schwartz, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I have a great doctor, and I tried to get the letter from my doctor too. Unfortunately, my doctor did what most doctors are probably doing now is they went to their legal offices. Okay. And of course, once the lawyers got involved, the lawyers said, we don't really want to take a side in this matter and say it could have been more likely than not. And they was like, it'd be better if you just went without a letter from us, because they didn't want to be involved in anything that could possibly cause them any kind of blowback. So I can understand where the doctors are coming from. I don't agree with it, and I wish it were different, but I see their point, unfortunately.
Well, Bob, in your case, here we were trying to associate service connection. Okay, that's a different need than what he has.
Right, but I'm just saying I could see once the lawyers get involved, it gets complicated, because most doctors aren't going to just give a straight answer on their own without having it run by whoever the law firm is or lawyers that are representing them. And once they get involved, it changes the scenario to some degree.
Yeah. Okay, Mark.
So, Jim, is this a service-connected disability or just?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's had radiation.
Yes.
And okay. And what I run through is, what was your Gleason score when this all started, and what were your numbers when this all started?
4.3.
So you were a 4.3. What was your Gleason score?
That is the Gleason score.
No, was it
wait. Wait, a Gleason score of a 7, 4 plus 3?
Yeah, 7.
Okay.
4 plus 3.
It was a 7, 4 plus 3.
Okay. Well, sometimes that's what they look at also, is what your Gleason was, how high your Gleason was. Mine was an 8, and so after my radiation, my numbers came down, and I just passed a year, but I'm still seeing the doctor every 3 months with a PSA every 3 months, but I see the doctor every 6 months. Well, I told him I wasn't really happy with that. And because of the Gleason score, I wanted to see him every 3 months. So like next Monday, I see him, and we'll get more of that. So I just had my CMP exam. And at the same time, I told him, I said, look, I'm still being treated every 3 months. I'm seeing a doctor. I'm getting PSAs every 3 months. So that's went down in the paperwork as that. And then they're going to do my another CMP in a year. So I was happy with that. Yep, another CMP in a year. But I said, okay, but I'm still under treatment. So that's the way I went with it. And they said, okay, we'll probably see you in a year. I said, okay, good enough.
Okay, Colonel.
Yes. So I was going to ask kind of a two-part question. Jim, I think the first part is, when you approached the doctor, what did your gut tell you about his willingness to even put together a letter? You don't have to answer that, but that's for you, because I'm just going to say, if your gut was that he didn't really want to do it to begin with, then that partially goes back to Bob's point about why you got the wishy-washy response that's like just open to interpretation, which is how you take it. But then the other thing I would say is, I would look for maybe other, the actual medical records themselves for just his treatment records, because you might find that his comments in his records are different from what's in the letter.
Yeah, well, basically all I did was give them a sample of what Jim's said that the letter should say.
Oh, okay.
And so they basically, you said that that
Right.
I was still in that letter is still trying to relay that I'm still under treatment. Well, they said that I'm not really, my treatment is finished, basically, is what they said, which they meant the radiation treatment, where we're trying to connect treatment with just,
Right. Well,
periodic.
then,
And for the disease.
right then, and with the thing, I would have said, well, if I'm not under treatment anymore, why do I have to come back? I should be done, right? And
Right.
they would probably say no. So I'm still under treatment, right? Or I'm still having to see a doctor. So the thing is, I would couch it as you're still having to see a doctor for the year. Okay, which implies that you're still under treatment. Okay, so that might be a way within the CNP exam to not say that he didn't say that I was under treatment, but you can, and it still is true, you have to see the doctor every 3 months and to get tests, right? Blood test. So,
Yeah, we'll just have to
yeah,
see how it works out, I guess.
sure. Well,
Yeah, what you guys are saying helps how I go about relaying that to the CMP examiner, whatever.
although, yeah, I don't know the questions they will ask you, but just give them enough information that it will imply that you are still having to see the doctor. It isn't done yet, and you still have to get tests. And hopefully it'll be done in a year.
I'm sorry to jump in, Jim, but like what I was thinking as the other
Okay.
Jim was talking
Yeah.
is like if you already have like your next appointment booked, I would take that piece of paper with me into the CMP exam and say, well, I got to go back and see him on this date.
Yeah, that's proof that indeed.
Yeah,
I'm
you-
gonna jump. I'm
Yeah.
gonna jump in here.
Richard, go.
You follow what Colonel Boynton's saying, but I would not take the doctor's letters in. I would take
Right.
in the clinical PSA reading of, you said 3.8 what? 3.87, let's say, for example, and just say, this is my most recent PSA reading. And please understand, we are not at the clinical nadir, NADIR, which is the lowest point, and say that you're hoping to see at least 3 readings to prove that you've reached a clinical nadir, and that's the case you need to make. I mean, 387 is the first one. You need to plot this on a chart. You got to see it go down, go down, go down, and then level out. So you just state that you're still in the PSA is declining, but you haven't seen it reach its nadir, nor have you seen it level off to ensure it's a durable reading. Hold back
Okay.
the letter, because
Yeah.
that doctor has kind of cut you off. What I did to convince my doctor, when I knew I'd have to make this pitch, because I picked it up here from this group, I mentioned to my doctor that the VA will be reaching out to him. So I brought in 2 8x10 photographs of me in Vietnam, looking at this poor tattered guy at Khe Sanh with mud and crap all over him. And the next one was me in a bunch of guys in a watering hole with the shrubs just denuded of leaves all around us. And I said, see, little did we know we were in a pool of Agent Orange that had drained off the foliage. So I kind of played on his sympathies by showing that, and then told him other stories about all the 55-gallon drums you had barbecues in, and 55-gallon drums you took showers from or shaved from, and I said, who knows what toxins were in those barrels? So that's how I it made my
Yeah.
pitch to get his sympathy. But anyway, just take your last
Yep.
PSA reading in, and then use the term nadir. You want to see at least 3 readings to show that it's flagged.
Tony Fig.
Yeah, maybe we could get copies of those pictures and Photoshop your face on the ones from Richard. Rick Davis is adamant, and it's true that there is no cure for cancer, and once you have it, you're always going to have circulating cancer stem cells. So for him to say there's no evidence of it, he would have to do some labs to show that there are no circulating cancer stem cells, but there are labs that you can get reports on that they have got thin enough membranes where they can separate any cancer stem cells, count them, and provide evidence that there is some there.
Yeah, but coming out of a radiation doctor and then insisting on that is probably not going to fly. Well,
this just for Jim to know that,
right.
The fact that he's saying there's no evidence of it,
well,
that's a misstatement as far as I'm concerned.
Well, actually, no evidence that he's seen. Well, has he looked? The answer is no. But if you don't look, yeah, there is no. It's a way to get you out. It's sort of a nebulous case, and it's too soon to say. Honestly, it is. It is much too soon to say. So, okay, anything else, Jim? Are you good?
No, I think that's good. We'll just, like I say, we'll play it by ear at the C&P exam.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, Eric, you're back. And in fact, just in time, because on the list, you're next.
Well, so I actually, it's interesting. Everyone's talking about their CMP and
right.
the letters and everything. So I submitted all my documents to the VA towards the tail end of 25 and really didn't hear anything until this past week. They scheduled an ACE exam.
Okay.
On this past Thursday.
Okay.
So I sat by my phone waiting and waiting and waiting, and no one called. So
that might be true.
So I didn't know if that was good or bad, but either way, there's some document that they sent out, but it still says in the portal or whatever you want to call it that it's gathering evidence stage. So that hasn't changed at all, and I haven't seen the letter come in the mail yet. So I don't know what it means.
Okay, well, surprisingly, that's actually, if you submitted it at the end of 25 and you are already getting notices for the CNP exam, I mean, that's the distinct advantage of putting in a fully developed claim, as I always do. Okay, because everything is there. And so immediately they went, aha, start scheduling him. Now, the ACE exam, I've seen that other places before, and there might be a phone call. I think there's only a phone call if they have a question.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it said.
Right. And apparently they didn't have a question, which is, to me, that is good news, because obviously it was either the fact that all was there, or they looked at it and said, hell no. But I don't think so. So I think everything was there.
And talking to the, you about and everyone I was listening while I was driving there back from my daughter's birthday party. Someone else had a birthday too. But one of the things that was said is that that letter that you had provided, the doctor wrote a nexus letter that tied my service
Right.
directly
Yes.
to that, and that's the stage we were at, was really just working on the service connection.
Right. Yes. Good.
So
Well, that's.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yep. We'll see. So far, I've had, I forget if it's 2 or 3 have been successful with that same strategy.
Good.
Okay. And I've got another one in the wings. So it'll be interesting.
So as soon as I hear something, I'll keep everyone updated.
Oh, good. Yes, I would like to. And there are claims that I've been told have been settled within 2.5 months, awarded. So that's a pretty good thing. Because I think in the reminder, I put that thing about 1 million claims behind starting in 2025, and at the end of 2025, they're down to 157,000. So that's, things got shook up there. Richard, hand up.
Oh, no, I'm just waiting my turn. I'm sorry. I didn't take it down.
Yeah. Okay, Bobby, you have your hand up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I submitted mine. I want to say it was like August, September. Mine was approved, and I'm already receiving that additional pay for that. But I just had everything went in with all my documents, and then they pulled documents from Walter Reed,
Right.
and I fill out my stuff about the areas I have served for as was toxic areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no issues, and they just approved everything.
So you say approved. What did you get?
They did 100% for the prostate. I was already totally and permanently disabled, 100%. And they added 100% based on the prostate.
Okay, on the prostate one, was that temporary or is that permanent?
Well, the document didn't say it was permanent on
Okay,
that
well
one.
then it's a temporary.
Right.
So you are going to face the same thing that Jim is facing. Okay, 6 months, they are going to bring you in to talk about residual effects. Now, once you had, I take it that if you had the surgery, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're on that 3-month cycle now, aren't you?
Yeah, I got, matter of fact, yeah,
Okay.
I see Dr. Chestnut in March.
Right. So at the time that you get called in again, you are going to exert the fact that you are still actually under treatment, okay, until that year comes up. And then at the end of the year, okay, if you've had the 4 PSA tests that are undetectable, then it'll be the downgrade. Now, what should have happened is that you said that you are already 100% prior to the prostate cancer, which is 100, right?
Yes.
Was any of those that you had prior 60% or greater?
Yes.
So therefore, what happened is that you should have seen a pay bump, right?
Yes.
Because you got awarded special monthly compensation subsection Sierra or S, which kicked in about an extra $500 a month.
Right.
And we also kicked in loss of use of creative organ, which is now up to around $139 a month. I know I get $46.78, I think it is, for those. Now, at that end of 6 months or that end of the year, that 100% is going to drop off, and you're going to be downgraded to either 10, 20, 40, or 60,
Okay.
based upon residual effects. And the deal is, you will be brought in and they'll say, how many times a night do you get up to pee? Right?
Right.
And if you say 1 to 2, it'll be 10. If you say 3 to 4, it'll be 20. If you say 5 or more, it'll be 40. And then pads. If you are 5 or greater, it is 60. But for you, because you've already got the 100% within the beginning, it really isn't going to affect your pay, except you will drop back to the straight 100%, but you'll still have loss of use of creative organ.
Okay.
So that's about the best that can be done. So at that time, you know, you could say 1, you could say 2, you could say 0, and it's not going to affect what you get.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I would still think about that, and think about, to me, it's worst case in a month. And now, are you getting your supplies essentially out of the VA, like pads or diapers, or depends, excuse me, politically acceptable word is now called depends.
But now, the pads I get out of VA.
Oh, okay. Good. And what's it like? Do they ship it to you on a monthly basis, or do you have to order them, or what?
Well, you have to order. You go in and you order them, and then they ship them based on how many you tell them you're using per day. They'll
Oh,
send a
okay.
quantity. So, yeah, I got it where they just send them straight to me.
Okay, you say you go in and order them. Do you what? Contact the primary care doc to tell him or her to do it, or is there a way to actually order it?
All I do is go on the VA site with my medical stuff and
Okay.
actually put in, and they got mine where they every 90 days they automatically ship.
Okay, but is there a panel for that, or are you just sending an email to the primary care doctor, or how does it work?
It goes straight through my primary care.
Oh, okay.
And
So it's
then, and like I
right,
said, then every 90 days,
right.
they automatically put the
Sure.
prescription in, and it just comes.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay. I think we're down to Richard.
Okay, thank you. Just to update, I'm 17 months post treatment. I've had 2 CMP exams, 2 ACE exams. After the first ACE exam, as I've explained in this group before, they dropped me from 100% to 0. Then I went back and made a case to justify that the person never called me, and that I thought that was unfair because I had changed doctors, and they restored it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then the most recent thing is that I had a letter stating that another ACE exam was coming up. So I very quickly, they gave me the date of the phone call. So I went back and went on the Johns Hopkins portal and downloaded the clinical notes of each visit that I had with the doctor, and I added in all of the lab readings for the PSA,
Mhm.
and submitted that at a 21-4138,
Right. Good.
stating that I'm still in the process of being monitored, which is, in my opinion, considered treatment because it's active surveillance post-treatment as opposed to active surveillance pre-treatment. You're still, that's the case I made, that this is being monitored, and you heard me use the term nadir. It hasn't flattened out yet. So I made that case. Then the phone call was to be the 15th this last week, and I put the my paperwork in on the 12th, which was total package was 14 pages, and I
Okay.
took some tips that you guys have mentioned in the past, which is I take little sticky notes or pads like little arrows, and on the clinical notes I
Right.
really identified the key things for them to look at. In my narrative, I told them, go look at this on page 2, look
Right.
at this on page 7. I did all that. And then so submitted that on the 12th, got the call on the 15th. It was a nurse practitioner out of Rhode Island, and it was a very pleasant phone call and very thorough. She did not see what I submitted, but she was just doing this on the information she had at hand.
Right.
And what was the most interesting thing, we were very pleasant, and we ended it. And the next day, you see, that was the 15th, 16th, 17th, I get an email from va.gov, and there was a letter saying they're going to continue the benefits. I was like, whoa, I am 17 months out. Look at this. I'm going to get another continuation. So that's, I consider that just great. But of course, we've talked about the durability. We talked about nadir,
Yeah.
and that was the case I made. I said, we haven't reached that point yet. And that's how I concluded my statement.
Right.
But since then, another interesting thing has popped up. Okay. I had a blood test, and it came back that there were some readings in it that now I'm stage 3B of chronic kidney disease.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so here I am. I did some research, and I saw that chronic kidney disease is not a presumptive case to make. It's secondary to other things, and I'm thinking I'm gonna.
Okay.
Go
Right.
ahead.
No. Go. Have you looked up what it is secondary to?
Well, there's a multitude of things like diabetes, high blood pressure. I don't have any of
Right.
that. The only thing is, of course, the exposure to Agent Orange or the radiation treatment. So what's in store is that Thursday I have to go in for a kidney sonogram and a bladder
Right.
sonogram because there's a possibility that in the treatment, the perhaps the urethra coming out of the prostate, going back to the bladder, going back to the kidney, there may be a backup of urine, and that keeps the toxins still in the kidneys up there. So yeah, I'm about to have that sonogram this Thursday. So my question here is that I have the blood test showing what measures led them to diagnose me as stage 3B chronic kidney disease, and then I'll get the results of this Thursday. So I'm thinking that I will try to make a case that this is, well, I'll have to ask the doctor, of course.
Right.
This is a residual of radiation, or is this attributable to Agent Orange?
Well, actually,
A secondary, I guess, the Agent Orange.
well, actually, it'll be secondary. No, it won't be secondary to Agent Orange. Okay. It'll be secondary to the treatment you received for the prostate cancer.
Okay.
Now, at this point in time, the thing I suggest you do is tomorrow do an intent to file.
Oh, okay. So that is this an intent to file? Or do I attach it to the condition I already have?
Yeah. Well, it is a new claim.
Oh.
Okay. And it is actually a new claim. And so therefore, set the pay date for it. And ideally, probably what's going to happen is service connection's going to be secondary to your treatment that you had for the prostate cancer, which is presumptive. So you can secondary to things that you already have service connection for. Okay. Now, that will get you service connection. Okay. Now, the next question is the fact of the evidence that you have that you actually have it. Okay. Which is all those tests you have. Then the question will be, how is it rated? And that's because I was just looking at one for a guy, and it's on your, or it's in your blood test in the EGFR.
Right.
The EGFR numbers, there are the different ranges. And depending upon where you fall, it will be how much you'll get.
I'm at 39.
Okay, well then, in that same 38 CFR Part 4, in the same 4.115A, which has the things about how many times a night you pee and all that stuff, they also have in that same section the one for the kidneys, and it has the EGFR numbers in it.
Really?
And
Okay.
yes, it is the exact same place. So I think I sent you the 38 CFR Part 4.115A.
I probably believe you did. I'll find it.
Yeah, just although it's changed for the prostate cancer, but I don't think it's changed for the kidney aspect.
So which I'll jump into with all of that, but my question now is, with the intent to file, ultimately, when I do file this, is this under what form, a 2148 or which?
No, this will be a 21-526EZ. Okay, a new claim. And then it'll be probably a very simple 21-10210. Okay, where you explain the fact that he'll explain that you are Vietnam vet, Agent Orange, all of that stuff, boots on the ground, and the disability will be kidney, right? Service connection will be secondary to the existing rated disability of prostate cancer, the treatment used, radiation. Okay. Then the disability part will be the fact that you do have it, and you'll probably need a letter out of the radiation doctor. If you can get this, it'll be like the champ, that the doctor will say within the letter that in his medical opinion, the radiation, it is as likely as not caused this problem. Okay. And if you can get that, okay, out of the doctor, it'll be approved. Then it's a question of what you are being treated with. Okay, drugs but at this point in time, just do the intent to file, and then there's still a lot of tests that have to be run, figured out what's what, and pretty soon the smoke will clear, and then do the claim.
Okay, yeah. Now, the person that I'm seeing now is after the blood test. So it's a nephrologist who is the
Oh,
kidney
yeah,
specialist.
right.
So the nephrologist doesn't generate a letter. Like I guess the oncologist generates it if it's a result of the radiation treatment.
Well, the nephrologist will, could, it depends. If the nephrologist is familiar with that type of a problem, like, okay, has he seen this before? Okay. If he hasn't or has not, well, it'll be either the radiation guy or the nephrologist or conceivably both of them. But at this point in time, it's too early to tell because let's say there is a sort of a blockage up there and they clear the block and now everything's good. Okay. You still have the intent to file in, but you just don't file. Okay. Colonel Boykin, you have a comment?
Yes, I was going to say, get the radiation oncologist is probably unlikely to say that they did something to cause a problem.
Right.
But the nephrologist is more likely to say that, yes, this came from some other treatment that you got, because
Yeah.
they're more objective about it. They're saying, hey, this is my diagnosis and I'm tying it back to this, or they may tie it to something else.
That's really good.
That's right. That's a good strategy.
Yeah, and also I have to clean up the mess that the radiation guy created.
Well, true.
No, actually, no, but yeah. So
this radiation oncologist is really top rated, so I don't want to.
No, but he might, because it could be a known risk.
Right.
And there's risk in absolutely everything. So at this point in time, I think we happen to play it by ear. Mark.
Okay. For the men and women, especially the men that are watching this particular recording and not doing it live tonight, they have to understand we have been working with Richard for many a months, and he's gone through a many a things to get to this particular point. And he's gone through many a treatment. He's listened to Colonel Boykin. He's listened to myself. He's listened to Tony down there. And the whole thing is as we get through all this treatment, and if you're watching this, he's gone through all this treatment. He's gone through all this weight of getting his rating to where it is today. And now he's got this other issue when it comes to the kidney. And by having to putting this in to the intent to file, he's gone through this many a times for many issues pertaining to his treatment of prostate cancer. And it's taken him a long time to get here. But now, because of this treatment, this other issue showed up. So now Jim has come in and said, okay, we're going to do the intent to file. And if you're out there watching this, this has been a long haul for Richard. 2 years, would you say, Richard?
Well, yeah, I joined AnCan. Oh my God. Well, with this group, at least 2 years. I mean, but I'm 17 months out of treatment. So
right.
I've been very fortunate to keep it going.
And that's what I want people to understand when they're watching all this on YouTube, and they're like, oh, these guys get it done so quick and everything. That's not true. Richard's been doing this for a very long time. He's gone through all the help that Jim's given him. And so for somebody just to pop in here and watch 90 minutes of this, say, oh, well, it's that simple and all that. It's not that simple. You have to do your homework. So now he's got another issue, maybe because of the treatment that he's had with radiation. Now he's got to go through all these other tests, but he's had to wait in line to get all these tests put together. But now he knows that it takes time, but at the same time, he has to get all his ducks in a row. And the easiest thing is for Jim to say, well, we're gonna look at it and get the file. Well, that's true, but Richard's now got all his paperwork ready and he knows what he's doing. And you got people out there, even on the screen tonight, that's gotten approved and have gotten their 100% or whatever, and they're all happy. But at the same time, like Bobby, he's done all his homework and he's got all his documentation together. So when he filed, it was all ready for everything to see. So Bobby did it right, and others of us on here has done it right. But for the people out there in the world of, oh, I'm just going to look at this for 90 minutes and it's going to only take me 2 months to get my stuff. That's not true. For some of us, we've been working in a very, very long time. But Bobby did it the right way. He got all his paperwork together. He sent it all in, and it went through pretty quick. So listening to Bobby's story, it's pretty good. But to listen to Richard's story, you got to be here 2.5 years ago and listen to what Richard's done. So
Yeah.
I'm glad he's getting his treatment and everything else, and I'm happy for Bobby and Tony. So you got to come in here and sit and listen to us guys moan and complain, but that's how you get it done.
Mark, thank you so much. He's absolutely right. I mean, it's a constant support from this group. I mean, you'll stumble and bumble through it. So when something else new comes up, it's like clear the dining room table, lay all that paperwork out, set up your computer, and tell your wife, say, look, I need this space for the next 3 days. And you go through it and go through it, and you reread it, and you go through it. You get the yellow sticky tabs, you point this out, because, I mean, one of the best tips I ever got from Jim was that you got to expect it. You're not getting the highest paid person that's reading your claim. They're screening it. So you got to point out, if you're writing a narrative, take them right to the clinical notes and make a point, and to make another, and just help them all the way through.
Absolutely.
And you're your own advocate. We say that all the time. And people's like, well, I'm not going to go through all that. Well, tell me what your issue is. Give me your social security number so I can file for you and I'll take your money. So it's due to you. So please do your homework and get it done, and do it right the first time. If not, there's always appeals and you can work through all of it. Thanks, guys.
Tony Fig.
It takes work, but just before I go, before I button this second thing up, Jim, my wife and I are taking you out to lunch. We'll have a working lunch before I do this next claim.
Okay. Great.
All right, I'm done. Thank you, guys.
Okay, Tony Fig.
Richard, you mentioned your thoughts that there could be a related issue where something backed up your prostate into the bladder and then into the kidneys. And I've had 3 friends that were self-catheterizing because of enlarged prostate, and as a result, the urine was backing up into the kidneys, and it was causing a lot of problems with their blood pressure and also with their mind and their memories. And as a result of that backing up, it really led to an early death for them. So I don't know if you could find something that would relate to those issues and use that as part of your proof that there could be some related issue with the backup going to the kidneys and causing these problems.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Of course, like I said, this Thursday morning, I'm going to have a sonogram of the kidney and a sonogram of the bladder. So we'll look at that.
Yep. That'll be good. Yep. Gather evidence.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Hank, you're up, guy.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, there we go.
So I was just going to give a quick update on where I am on claim status also. For quick background, I had radical prostatectomy in June of 2017. That was followed by salvage radiation in December 2017. Looked like I was clean on the PSA for about 4 years. Then it started rising in 2022. January 2025, it was considered biochemically recurrent, which basically makes it metastatic disease. Good news for me is, although it's considered metastatic disease, tumors have not been located yet. That's actually causing my claim maybe to get a little bit convoluted here. So that's kind of part of the discussion. So I did my file. I intend to file back last February, got my act together, went through the paperwork rigor that we've all talked about tonight, submitted the claim in November. And this was a fully developed claim done under Jim's tutelage. And it started out looking like things were going very good. I was called for an ACE exam that I had on the 5th of December. The kind of odd thing about that was all the doc who called me wanted to talk about was incontinence issues, how many pads, how much peeing at night, that sort of thing, when that wasn't even really a particularly big problem written up in my particular claim. But okay, went through all that. I then was called for a CMP exam, which I did on the 12th of December. And this was even more curious because the purpose of the CMP exam was to measure my scar lengths, which for the life of me, I could not figure out because in my original claim, the surgery that I had was robotic surgery. So it's like quite literally 5 puncture points in my abdomen, and you can't really even see the scars. But kind of with Jim's coaching, I took the opportunity to turn the conversation with the CMP examiner around. And I had a letter from my doc, which was in my original package, talking about metastatic disease. I gave that to her. And at the end of that session, I filed a 4138 that provided all that paperwork back to VA. Okay, didn't hear anything across the holidays, didn't really expect to. But I get another call in early January, and they want to do another CMP exam. And lo and behold, it turns out they want to measure my scars again. So, okie doke, here we go again. I'll let you measure my scars and do what you want to there. Again, I brought all the stuff that I had from my doc already about metastatic disease, and I filed a second 4138 re-explaining all of that. So that's in the mill now, and I'm patiently waiting to see what's going to happen.
Well, that's an interesting journey. Now,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting at the time that you get the determination, because within the determination paperwork, normally on around page 2, there is a section called evidence, and they'll list all of the documents they considered. That list of documents should be compared with what you submitted, because I've been finding that, like in one case, a vet and I submitted like 15 documents. Only 7 of them showed up, okay, within the list. What happened to the other 8? So it took us the fact to file a supplemental claim, turning around and explaining the fact that these other 8 things did not show up essentially within the original claim. And I didn't accuse them of not doing it. I said there could have been a computer error, we blame it on the computer, kind of thing. And surprisingly, those were looked at and no problem. Okay, he was awarded.
Yeah.
But so that's important to look at, because that could be a clue why they turned something down, because they claim we don't have any particular evidence. And it turned out you did submit it, but it was not included in that evidence list. Why? I have no idea.
Yeah, and so at least in my case, although it's a puzzlement to me why this fixation on the length of my scars, um, it's given me the opportunity to put all that evidence in front of them 3 times now, the
Right,
original claim and 2 additional times. So that
right,
hopefully will
sure.
help. We'll see how it goes.
Sure.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Okay. Okay, Israel. I think you got a comment or something, right?
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, just quick comment. I'm just ongoing. Someone mentioned about not giving up, and it's a long process, and so I'm still dealing with a tinnitus hearing loss claim. And one of the things I did was I literally went to my local VA office today, and I got a copy of my DBQs from my initial, you know, DB, the CMP exam. I got my
Okay.
DBQs, and there were some things in there that weren't correct. Number one, but while I was at the VA office, I popped over to Calvet, a VSO office, and I had a supervisor look at it, and we talked about it. And at the end of the day, he surmised that we need to submit a new supplemental claim because they incorrectly reevaluated me. It needs to be reevaluated for non-TERA, and it was an inadequate exam, is what he's saying.
Okay.
Because they put on here, they didn't put on here like direct service connection. They put on their some other medical opinion for toxic exposure risk activities, and so
Okay.
obviously tinnitus has nothing to do with TERA or toxic, exposure. And so now I'm going to resubmit a new claim, and hopefully that'll help clear this up. So it's an ongoing process, and I think, and it didn't take long. I mean, I just had to go and schedule an appointment. And so for anyone that's listening out there, I think getting a copy when you go to your CMP exam, getting a copy of the actual DBQs and the medical opinions that they forwarded to the rater is super important, because I learned a lot just reading through the documents and those notes that I would have never known. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, and thanks again, Jim, for all your help. It's an ongoing process. Appreciate it.
Question for you now. Going back to that TERA, I didn't quite understand what was the issue there. Okay. Because
Yeah.
I think you said there was a statement within the document. What now?
Yeah, they're trying to say that
Okay.
it was due to, let me see, hang on, I'll tell you just a second here. Hearing loss. Hang on just 1 second here. Functional impact. Oh, here it is. On the medical opinion, they try to put it. They try to put it as a the claimant. The claim condition was less likely than not caused by indicated toxic exposure risk activities.
Wait. You said less likely than not, right?
Right.
Okay. That is in essence saying that tinnitus is not caused by toxic exposure.
Right.
Because and that's true, right?
Right.
Okay. So the thing I believe they're doing for every disability that they now rate because of the TERA memo that was signed, I think March the 5th of 2024, when you stick in a claim, they have to evaluate you for TERA, toxic exposure risk activity. And that's for not a disability, that's for healthcare. So in there, I believe that's a correct thing they did. Okay. So I don't think it's basically an error.
Okay.
Although, because, again, now previously, I don't know, have you been awarded TERA?
For health purposes, I was.
Okay, well, still, each time I believe they still have to evaluate. I don't think they look up and say, well, did he get it before? I don't have to do it now.
Oh, okay.
I got a stinking hunch it's a flat thing to do.
I see.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, that's where I'm at. And yeah, maybe more to follow, I guess.
right.
Thank you. That'll pass.
Okay. And I made a mistake. Luther was supposed to go earlier, and I overlooked that. I will have to apologize to him. Sylvester joined us. Sylvester Mann, retired VA
Evening, everybody.
employee. How you doing, Sylvester?
I'm doing good. It's good seeing everybody.
Okay, is there anything that you would like to comment on?
No, my transitioning to being treated at the VA is going smoothly.
Oh, okay. And it's the VA where? In Los Angeles?
No, it comes out of San Francisco, the regional office. No,
Oh, okay.
the medical center in San Francisco, but I'm actually getting treatment at the Oakland outpatient clinic. I'm closer to Oakland than San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. It's about 9:17 or so. Anybody got any questions? Any comments?
I do. Please tell Luther we're sorry.
Yes.
But,
I will send him an email because that was my fault. In the notes, I even wrote, a note to do it, and it completely. Let's put this: everybody had such interesting experiences. I just got wrapped up in them.
Yeah, I mean, some of us old timers, we were kind of airy tonight, and
Yeah.
please apologize to him that we took up his airtime. So
yeah. So anyway, there is a couple things that I would like to do for, and it could apply to some of you, but I've been getting requests to assist retired veterans in converting their military retirement or seeing how much they'd get if they converted their military retirement pensions, which are taxable, at least within the federal thing. Some states don't tax them, into a thing called combat-related service compensation, which comes out of a trust fund in the Department of Defense. And it's those folks that were in combat and can assert that your disability was the result of possibly armed conflict, hazardous duty like crazy enough to jump out of airplanes, and EOD people and pilots, believe it or not, can claim, or possibly air crews, helicopter crews. If you were involved in war simulation, in other words, playing soldier, also training, right? Training for war, or exposure to instruments of war like guns, weapons, tanks, hand-to-hand combat, etc. Now, if you have a disability that is combat related, then you can get credit. Okay. A very simple case was myself. Agent Orange, prostate cancer, 2 years, boots on the ground. Even though I was a computer operator, I don't think I was titled a combat computer operator, but I was Mine was the result of armed conflict. So I applied to the Secretary of the Air Force. Okay, this is a military thing, not a VA thing. But because I was VA 100% disabled, I had one disability to claim: prostate cancer, rated 100% permanent and total. So I go over and I complete the forms and I send them to the Air Force, Randolph Air Force Base. And it comes back and they compute how much I would get of combat related service compensation, which at that point was equal to the amount I was receiving as a military CRDP. Remember that your VA, if you do the VA and you've got 50% or more, the military pension converts to a thing called concurrent retirement disability pension, allowing you to keep all of your military pension, and because you get and with the VA anyway. So then I told the Air Force, don't send me my CRDP check anymore because I'm getting combat related service compensation. And that's been true for ever since 2018. Okay, now along comes Special Forces guy, and he wants to do the same. He is 100%, combat, jumped out of airplanes, war simulation, behind the lines, all that good stuff. And so he puts in he gets a list of his VA disabilities that you can get off of www.va.gov, my VA. Okay, if you click on that, there is your list. And he's probably got 12 or 13 things. He has an ankle problem, a knee problem. I mean, he's got all kinds of problems, right? So all he does is fill out the form, okay, a DOD form, and he sends it in. Comes back. Of course, he didn't explain how he got the stuff, etc. Well, he comes back and they award him 40% CRSC, which is like 40% of his pension. Obviously, he will not accept that. And you do have a choice, okay, to pick essentially one or the other. And by default, they will always compute how much you'll get and then award you the higher amount. So if the CRDP is $100 more than the CRSC, it'll say you are keeping your CRDP unless you complete this form and object to it. So you have to look at the tax implication, etc. Okay, the bottom line in this that I'm trying to convey is that he did not take much time to do this, because for every disability that you've got, you have to explain where you got it, the unit that you were part of, what you were doing at the time, which in the Special Forces world, I don't know if he recalled all this stuff. And so it can be a laborious issue. But if by chance anybody's interested in attempting this, contact me. And the thing I did not do at the beginning was in the way that you can contact us is at either veterans@ancan.org, or you can go to me, captjim@ancan.org. But it's something that possibly, I don't know if anybody in here believes they could be awarded CRSC if you are retired, but I would definitely look at it to see, because it's entirely tax-free and it doesn't show up on your IRS filing, just like the VA does not show up on the IRS filing. Okay, I don't think anybody in here is eligible for it, or do you think you are? Because I don't know how many were in a combat zone and got injured over there bad. No. Okay. And who joined us is Rick Davis, who's the founder of AnCan. Thank you, Rick, for joining us. We were just about to wrap up, believe it or not. Had a lively discussion of a bunch of filings and things for folks. Okay, is there anything that you would like to convey?
No, I'm good. Just nice to see everybody. And hopefully you got a lot of stuff done in here. Oh, I will say, Richard, hang on when we go.
Okay.
Hang on when don't close the room.
No. Okay.
Captain Jim, I want to talk to Richard about something. Okay.
Oh, okay. I can leave because just want to make sure that you signed. Yes, you are signed on organizer. Good.
Okay. All right, and I hope everybody
no,
else had a good thing.
You're not an organizer. Let me
I
make
didn't
sure.
come in. Okay.
No problem here.
Okay. Yes, if you can.
Yes. Good thing I checked, because I would have.
Yeah.
Okay. You're good. I can leave. Boykin can leave. And leave, not close. Okay.
Right.
Good.
Right.
I got it.
Okay. Let me think here. I think there was something else. Okay, we talked about the combat related service compensation, and I thought there was something else I could bring up at this time. In the next reminder, I am going to put now offhand, how many people file travel vouchers if you go to the VA? Okay.
Show me the money.
Yeah, I file.
Right.
I got another question. For you, Captain Jim. How many people know what travel vouchers are?
Well, yeah.
I definitely know.
Right.
How many people?
Does
anybody not know what a travel voucher is? You all know.
How many people in the military? We did.
Everybody knows.
Definitely, because going TDY was interesting, and then to figure out. Anyway, in the next reminder for those folks that are not registered to file travel, well, there is an easy way. You go to the hospital, the appointment, at the time you're done, you go down to the travel office, fill out a form, hand it in, and it's done. Well, that's Okay, provided you have a travel office. But if you don't, you can do it through www.va.gov and go into My Healthy Vet, into the appointment, and there's a link there that says file a travel voucher. And you just click on it and it will then file your travel voucher. So there is going to be some instructions about how to register yourself in the travel system if you're not able to do it online. It just so happens that the travel system only uses id.me. They don't use login.gov for the registration process. Why? Well, why it's, and only I figured this out. The VA outsourced it to the Treasury Department, believe it or not, in Austin. So it's cross-serviced to Treasury. So anyway, there'll be instructions in there just to fill out a form, send it to Austin with your bank account information, because the bank account for the travel doesn't share the information on the bank account that your check goes to. Boykin, Colonel.
Yeah, I was gonna say this does not affect like when you file like your regular VA claims because
Oh, right.
okay.
This is the travel system called
Right.
BPSSS, and I forget what it.
Right. Because the last few times I went, the reason why I'm asking is the last few times
Okay.
I've gone on an exam or anything for the VA, they pretty much for related to a claim, they pretty much just pulled out the Google Maps and just calculated it for me and then sent like a little check.
Well, actually, you're talking about a CNP exam.
Yes.
I'm talking about a medical appointment. The CNP exam, apparently a part of the contract, because remember, all of the CNP exams are now done by contractors. Apparently, in the contract for each company, they have included the cost of your travel for the CNP, and so the contractor will then send you the travel amount, and they will compute it however they are told to compute it. Now, the VA, and I didn't write this down, they have some automated AI system, and it isn't Google, it's some goofy name that they use to compute essentially the mileage. Like for me, it's 7 miles to the VA hospital, but if I drive it, it's like 11. So somehow, I don't know if the crow flies or how they do it. But anyway, so it's an interesting thing to have in place because there is a deductible, believe it or not, that of $18 a month. And I looked at that and said, and you can only file 3 claims in a month. What happens if you have 5 appointments? I have no idea. But the more interesting part was the reason why I'm pushing this, because that deductible money doesn't stay within the general fund. It's used to assist vets who can't pay for their travel, to provide them travel. So it's a way to give money to impoverished disabled vets so they can get their travel.
But if you get your travel, you can always go on AnCan.org and buy your a shirt and a sweatshirt that's really nice and warm during these cold winter nights. So put in for your travel, get your money, and get you a sweatshirt.
Oh, yes.
I just want to tell you, we don't pay him to do that.
No.
We don't pay him. I do want to say, and again, I've made this appeal before. I make it every time, and largely because these groups are recorded, that we really need some people. We need to recruit people to help Captain Jim. So if you know anybody who'd be interested in working with Captain Jim, helping Captain Jim, being trained by Captain Jim, it would be a huge service to all of your fellow vets, and of course to AnCan as well. But we're looking all the time. Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The thing I'd like to do before we end is to give a little plug for the other AnCan support groups, or actually there will be a veterans speaking freely support group meeting next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Yes. And so it's for, and that's strictly for the emotional impact of veteran service. They do not talk about claims or health care and all of the things about money and all that stuff. And I suggest that if you need it, sign up for it. If you have questions about it, you can contact me at veterans@ancan.org. And
Hit
also,
me up because I co-moderate that one.
Who?
You can also hit me up because I co-moderate that one with Bill Franklin. Yeah.
Colonel Boykin ought to be given the pitch for this one.
I was, but you jumped in, so you keep going.
Oh.
You're doing great.
Next time I will know to call on you. I will make a note of that. Definitely. And then there are other support groups for the prostate cancer, breast cancer. Yes. Let's see, MS, RMC, sarcoidosis, visual snow syndrome, blood cancers, all of those.
No more sarcoidosis. No more RMC. No more RMC.
RMCs.
RMC's gone, but we do have a new inherited mutation group. People who have acquired an inherited mutation from one of their parents.
And don't you have a group for cancer caretakers?
And we have a care partners group that I just came out of, and Sylvester just came out of because it runs the same time as this group. And yes, and that group is just for people with who are taking care of people with stage 3 and stage 4 cancer. And yes, it's a wonderful group. Right, Sylvester, you want to say something about that group to tell the guys what it's like?
It's a very excellent group, but I have to admit, I was caring for my sister who did not have cancer. She suffers from dementia. And I met Rick at the Prostate Cancer Research Institute session many, many years ago when the Care Partners group was just being organized. And they took me under their wing. And with their help, I was able to get the help that I needed to take care of my sister, to get her in an excellent facility in Pacific Grove, California. It's a small facility, but it's an excellent facility. And even now, I stay with that group because let's face it, I'm getting older. I have friends who suffers from not only cancer, but other disabilities. And I can go in that group and they give me advice based on their experience that help me help those people that I do know who do not have cancer. And I'm a creature of habit. When I latch on to something good, I try not to give it up. And like I say, I stay with that group because it helps me help those that doesn't even know about some of these groups. And not only that, it might help some of you guys who have a significant other who might need some help. If they don't need any help, they can come on the group and just listen because it will help them to help you. So with that, it's an excellent group and I wouldn't give it up for a thing.
Okay.
We
Okay.
love having we love having Sylvester in that group.
Yeah.
Now, you know, we haven't seen Gail in that group, and God help her, she needs some support. Can you imagine taking care of Captain Jim day in and day out? Oh my
I
God.
know.
But we haven't seen her in that group, but we would be happy to support her, I'll tell you that.
Well, at the time that that day comes, I will probably not know it. So if it gets that bad.
Oh, and
Anyway.
we don't allow the patients in that group. It's only the caregivers.
Right.
Patients are not allowed to attend.
Absolutely. Okay, it's about
All
time.
right. Hang
There.
on, Mr. Silver.